Hey everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this video. The fact that you are willing to sacrifice a few minutes out of your day to consume my content really does mean the world to me. I truly do appreciate it. And today we're going to be talking about Umbrella Academy Season 3. And guys, I just have to say, recently we've had all of these big returns of the really popular Netflix shows, the shows that really helped put Netflix on this pedestal, that really made it one of the top streaming sites in the world. And Umbrella Academy was one of those shows. So after the return of Stranger Things and now the return of Umbrella Academy, it's really slowly starting to feel like Netflix is actually producing high quality content once again, which is something that we really started to miss the last few years. So I've just been having a whale of a time on Netflix recently. So let's basically break down season 3 of the Umbrella Academy. We all know how season 2 ended. Massive cliffhanger. The Umbrella Academy is now facing off against the Sparrow Academy. But not only that, a Google Blitz has been created. Now, Google Blitz is basically a fancy, wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey explanation of what a paradox is. And it's up to the Umbrella Academy and the Sparrow Academy to solve this problem. And that's all I'm going to say in regards to the story, because that's all you truly actually need, because that is the overall arcing storyline. Of course, there's a bunch of different branching character arcs and character developments and micro stories, because that's what Umbrella Academy has always done so well, is give every single character, or rather every single member of the Umbrella Academy, and now of course the Sparrow Academy, a decent amount of time to shine and to adapt to their current situation and to develop his characters. So let's just start off with the strengths of the series. And something that the series does really well is continue the character development that we've seen over the first 2 seasons for all of these different characters. I feel like there were specific characters that were written very differently to how they were written in season 1 and 2, especially when it comes to Luther, who is my favorite character. So I was a little bit weirded out as to why they changed his character so drastically this season. But at the end of the day, they made him so much more enjoyable in many ways. So I kind of let it slide, because even though it was a deviation from his character from the first 2 seasons, he really was a lot more lovable and a lot more enjoyable to watch. But I have to say, both Five and Klaus, who are mine and my wife's favorite characters, they were just so incredibly enjoyable as well. So this was a series that you can really just sit down, relax and enjoy and have a fun time with, because it is just a fun series to watch. But it does have the same pitfalls and frustrations as previous seasons. Something I've always felt with in regards to Umbrella Academy is if the characters, if the Umbrella Academy just stuck together for once, they could solve so many of their problems. But because they go off on their own tangents and everyone has to throw a hissy fit, everything becomes so much more difficult for them. And that happens in this season as well. So it feels a little bit like these characters are going along the beaten track. They're making the same mistakes. They haven't really learned from their mistakes from previous seasons. But at the same time, it's literally been a few days for them. They've been traveling through time. They've stopped the world from ending twice. They really haven't had time to just relax and catch their breath, because the world is once again ending. And that's another little frustration of mine, is I'm kind of getting tired of this Umbrella Academy trope where the world is constantly ending. I wouldn't mind if we just had a season where that isn't the case. If we just had a simple season where they have to just figure out a big issue, yes, but it doesn't come at the cost of the entire world, or there isn't a paradox or anything like that. It's just them trying to solve something. This season also answers a lot of your questions from previous seasons, but, and this is a massive but, it also poses so many more questions than it answers. So you might have, for example, 10 questions that are outstanding coming into the season. By the time the season ends, you may have had 4 or 5 of them answered, but you're going to have an additional 10 questions. That might sound like a negative, but it's really gotten me excited for the next season, because as much as I wanted my questions answered, they gave me just a small taste of it, and they go, no, but we'll answer all of these questions later on. You've got to come along for the ride. So I'm very, very excited about that. In fact, watching this season got me more interested in reading the graphic novel than any of the previous seasons had. So that's a great sign. Once again, the action was enjoyable. I think that was always a fun part of Umbrella Academy, was that the action was set up in such a unique way, because even though we've got an overabundance of superhero movies and shows at the moment, these heroes have very unique abilities that we don't really see represented on these superhero movies and shows. So it's nice to see these more obscure powers come into play in these action sequences. But then to counter that, this show had some janky CGI. Like, it had some CGI that was just not believable, which is shocking because the earlier seasons of Umbrella Academy actually won awards for their special effects. But there's a few sequences in the first few episodes that just look beyond unbelievable. And my wife and I kind of just looked at each other and snickered a little bit when we were watching it, because it was not believable in the slightest. But beyond those few sequences, there are these other massive visual spectacles that do look very believable and kind of really do suck you into the action. And that I can understand why that might win an award. But I don't know, it feels like it's a little bit of give and take. You can't necessarily give us really, really unconvincing CGI at times and then go all out for another sequence. Like, kind of just balance it out a little bit more. But across the board, I had so much fun. And I know it sounds like I complained a lot in this review, but I didn't necessarily not have a good time. As I said, it was a lot of fun to watch. I had a good time watching it. My wife and I would come back home from work every day and be like, okay, cool, let's go watch Umbrella Academy. We have to round this up. So I had a lot of fun watching the show. It is just a little bit disappointing that the gripes I'm having with this season are the same gripes I've had with season 1 and 2. Like, I feel like the showrunners and the creators of the show aren't really looking back to previous seasons going, okay, this didn't necessarily work, this definitely worked, let's adjust this, let's change that. But again, at the end of the day, they're one of the most popular Netflix shows for a reason. They have a winning formula. They're going to continue with that formula. So ultimately, guys, if you enjoyed the first 2 seasons of Umbrella Academy, you are going to have such a great time watching this season. But guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Give it a like if you did. Do not be afraid to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It would really help me out and I would appreciate it. But guys, thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you again in another review.